Before Home Depot, before Lowe's, before Amazon. Every small town in America had a True Value hardware store, the one on Main Street, run by someone you knew by name, where you bought paint, tools, and if you needed a mower, a lawn chief built in True Value's own factory in Illinois. True Value was not a chain. It was a cooperative, owned by the store owners themselves, not a corporation. 12 hardware dealers met in a small hotel room in Sycamore, Illinois in 1947 and decided that the only way independent stores could survive was to own their own supply chain. They were right for 50 years. At its peak, True Value had 7,000 member stores, manufactured its own paint, its own mowers, its own snow shovels, and shipped over $1 million in goods every single business day. An estimated 6 to 8 million lawn chief mowers went home with American families through the doors of stores owned by their neighbors. In 2024, True Value filed for bankruptcy and was sold to Do It Best. The cooperative that John Cotter built to prove independent stores could beat the chains was absorbed by the last cooperative standing. The 12 men in that hotel room were right about everything, except how long it would last. John M. Cotter was born in 1904 in St. Paul, Minnesota, the son of a streetcar worker and a farm-raised mother. By 12, he was already working part-time in a hardware store, earning $1 a week and building a reputation for honesty. Cotter's early years were steeped in the rhythms of small-town retail, sweeping floors, stocking shelves, learning the names and habits of every customer who walked through the door. After high school, he married Alice Germain, another hardware clerk, and together they made a life in the trade. By the early 1940s, Cotter was earning $35,000 a year as a senior buyer for LL Oaks & Company in Chicago. But he walked away from that security in 1942, convinced that independent hardware stores were being squeezed out by distant wholesalers and growing chains. In July 1947, Cotter gathered 12 store owners in a modest hotel room in Sycamore, Illinois. The Sycamore Tribune noted the meeting, and local records list the date as July of that year. The merchants came from towns scattered across northern Illinois, wary but desperate for a way to survive. Cotter's pitch was simple. If they pooled their resources, owned their own wholesale company, and shared profits, they could match the buying power of any chain. Manufacture what you can, buy what you must, he told them. That line would become the cooperative's guiding maxim. The group agreed, each signing the charter and contributing to the first deposit slip, which still sits in the Sycamore Historical Society collection. On January 15, 1948, Cotter & Company was officially incorporated in Illinois. The certificate, stamped and filed in Chicago, named Cotter and Ed Langtot among the original incorporators. From that moment, the cooperative belonged to its members, each store owner a shareholder, each decision made by vote. The ideological spine of True Value was set. Local ownership, shared risk, and the belief that Main Street could stand together against the tide. In 1962, the cooperative's board approved a bold purchase. Cotter & Company acquired the assets of Hibbard Spencer Bartlett & Company, a Chicago wholesaler with roots stretching back to the 19th century. The deal cost $2.5 million, but the real prize lay in a single line item: ownership of the True Value trademark, valued in the contract at just $2,500. That name, once a label on HSB's private brand tools, would become the identity of every member store. For the first time, independent hardware dealers from Illinois to Iowa could rally under a single national banner, their storefronts painted with the same red and white sign. The effect was immediate. Membership doubled as nearly 400 new stores joined the cooperative, drawn by the promise of pooled buying power and unified marketing. By 1966, Cotter and Company's annual sales reached $84 million, a figure celebrated in trade journals and later rounded up to $100 million in retrospectives. The Cooperative had become the largest hardware distributor in the United States, and its board, store owners themselves, pointed to the True Value name as proof that local businesses could thrive together. The $2,500 spent on the trademark was, in hindsight, the most consequential investment the board ever made. It gave thousands of Main Street merchants a way to compete with the chains on equal terms, not by abandoning their independence, but by sharing it. The next step, as the board saw it, was to go beyond buying and start building, to manufacture what the members could not find elsewhere, and to keep the value inside the network. In 1967, Cotter and Company opened the doors to a new kind of factory in Harvard, Illinois, a place built not for a distant corporate owner, but for the benefit of thousands of small-town hardware stores. The General Power Equipment plant was more than just concrete and steel. It stood as the physical proof that a cooperative could do what the chains did: design, build, and ship its own products at scale. Inside, workers assembled Lawn Chief mowers and Snow Chief snowblowers, machines that carried the promise of Main Street self-reliance to every corner of the country. By 1970, the Cooperative's logistics network was a quiet marvel. Automated warehouses and a private fleet of trucks moved more than $1 million worth of goods every business day. Pallets of tools, paint, and power equipment bound for member stores from the Midwest to the Pacific Northwest. Freight invoices from that year showed daily shipments averaging 2,500 pallets, routed through a web of 15 regional distribution centers. The Harvard plant's output was tracked in serial-numbered logs, each shipment a thread connecting local workers to local owners. The numbers kept climbing. The 1979 annual report recorded over $1 billion in sales and more than 7,000 member stores, each one a shareholder in the enterprise. For the workforce, the scale was a point of pride. A cooperative, not a chain, reaching every state, powered by the hands of people whose names were known in the break room and on the loading dock. The machinery of distribution was not just a business strategy, but a living network, built to keep the promise of local ownership alive. The Lawn Chief mower was never just a machine on the showroom floor. For millions of families, it was the first engine a teenager learned to coax to life each spring. The hum behind Saturday chores, the reason for a handshake between a store owner and a neighbor. Between the early 1970s and the late 1990s, the Harvard, Illinois plant turned out between 6 and 8 million Lawn Chief mowers, each one tagged with a serial number, each one destined for a small-town hardware store that belonged to its owners, not to a distant corporation. Catalogs from the era promised that Lawn Chief was available only through True Value dealers, a quiet badge of pride for stores that had banded together to survive. Collectors still trade stories and spare parts in online forums, swapping photos of faded decals and memories of the first cut after a long winter. For former plant workers, the pride runs deeper. Oral histories from the Harvard Historical Society recall a workplace where everyone knew the foreman's name, and where the end of each shift meant another shipment was headed to someone's hometown. The machines outlasted the factory, and in many garages, they still start on the first pull. For the people who built them, and the store owners who sold them, the Lawn Chief was proof that Main Street could make something lasting. Something that belonged to everyone in the cooperative and no one else. By the 1990s, independent hardware stores faced a new reality. Home Depot and Lowe's expanded across the Midwest, their massive stores drawing crowds from dawn to dusk. Walmart entered small towns, undercutting prices and erasing the advantage of cooperative buying. The red and white signs that once promised stability now marked stores struggling to survive. In 1995, Cotter and Company, pressured by mounting debt and relentless competition, sold its General Power Equipment division, including the Harvard, Illinois plant and the Lawn Chief brand, to MTD. Board records from that year reflect resignation. There were no other offers. The sale provided severance for 120 workers and a brief assurance that Lawn Chief mowers would remain in True Value stores. But the cooperative's independence was gone. Over the next decade, membership shrank as more owners closed their doors, unable to match the scale of the chains. By 2015, fewer than 5,000 member stores remained. The cooperative's attempt to build its own e-commerce system had failed to draw customers away from Amazon or the big box giants. Annual reports showed debt mounting year after year, reaching $227 million by the spring of 2024. On October 15, 2024, True Value filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in the Northern District of Illinois. The filing listed major creditors and confirmed that the cooperative's assets, including 15 distribution centers, inventory, and the True Value trademarks, would be sold to Do It Best, the last national hardware cooperative. The deal was structured as an asset purchase, and it protected Do It Best's members from inheriting the old debts. For owners who stayed, the transition meant a new sign above the door, but the same hope that a cooperative, even under a different name, might still offer Main Street a fighting chance. For many, the end felt less like a collapse than a quiet surrender to forces too large to resist. In October 2024, the last great hardware cooperative, built by store owners for store owners, was quietly absorbed by its only surviving peer. Main Street lost not just a business, but a way of holding on to community scale. Cotter's lesson endures. The local can win until the world gets bigger.